Thank you for joining us on our third and final night of Series 5, A New Play Festival. We cannot thank you enough for watching a student work be put on stage, and we are just so appreciative of you joining us for this entire thing.
Up first tonight will be Daisy Miller, My Study by Anna Sorrentino, directed by Autumn Blalock. Enjoy.
Lights up on apartment in Geneva, Switzerland. The stage is empty of life for a moment.
Then Daisy, a 19-year-old American dressed in a white day dress and carrying a white parasol, emerges from another space.
She discovers her audience with a small jolt of surprise, gives a long, slow nod, then leaves her parasol folded up on a desk. She then exits.
Winterbourne descends from a loft at the top of the apartment and goes about his morning business like usual. He prepares water for tea with an electric kettle, then realizes there is something strange on his desk. He makes his way over to the desk. As he lifts his parasol with a look of bewilderment, his kettle boils, making a sharp sound. He drops the parasol with a start and runs over to the kettle, turning it off. He does not pour the boiling water into his teacup, but instead leans against the table and breathes hard.
I must be exhausted. He reaches towards the kettle, starts to fill his teacup. A door creaks slightly open in another corner of the apartment. Winterbourne pauses, then explores for the source of the sound. Hello? Jeanette? Nothing happens. Winterbourne turns back to his tea.
Then Daisy hums a little song off stage.
Daisy? It's not her. It's not her. Stop being completely stupid.
Daisy casually walks through the front door of the apartment. Winterbourne, aghast, drops his teacup. Daisy walks toward Winterbourne. Oh, Fred! So splendid and so clumsy.
Frederick.
Of course, Frederick.
Hello.
Well, hello, dear. Awfully gloomy, isn't it? A little cold and bare for my taste. I always imagined your flat in Geneva a little brighter, a little warmer. After all, you talk so much about it. Now, I'm here, and well, it's not quite...
It's not like the they.
Yes, it's not like the they at all. Downright dreary. No music pouring in from the hotel rooms. No sugar pastries in shop windows. No bright white buildings.
No girls walking by in their ribbon white dresses.
And I suppose it is because I have seen nothing of Geneva but this apartment, but this will not do.
What are you doing in Geneva, Daisy? The last time I saw you, we were in Rome and...
Oh, who cares about Rome? Overrated, overrated. I want to know about how you are doing now.
I was fine without you.
I suppose you were.
Well, I was writing a novel. A novella, actually.
About what?
I suppose it's about you.
My favorite subject.
I can't seem to get past the first little bit, though.
Tell me what you have.
Bilen, Switzerland is a tourist trap for Americans seeking out picture-perfect European adventures. The hotels are immaculate. And from the Vevey shores, Lake Geneva is remarkably blue. Along the shore, there is an unbroken array of shops, booths, and hotels lined up and ready to please. There's something about Vevey in June that feels more like Newport or Saratoga than Geneva or Zurich. It's hard to place it exactly. Maybe it is the din of tourists passing by, competitively speaking English to each other as they tear into their fat beige pastries. Dance music pours out from the open windows of each hotel, even at 9 o'clock in the morning. The streets are overcome with the white fluttering of muslin skirts on every girl. And all I can hear some days is the sound of air passing over, under, and around these skirts. And the high-pitched chirps of these girls,
Quite a bit about the girls.
Quite a bit about you.
What else have you written?
Suppose this is it.
And what happens next?
The moment we meet.
You were sitting in the garden of the Trois, a half-burnt cigarette in your hand, contemplating something quite large, I assume, when Randolph stomped his way over to you, demanding sweets and attention. Have I got that right?
Your memory serves you well.
Well, then, sit. Daisy shifts the table and chair to resemble a garden chair. Garden table. Lights and sound create the sense of the garden of a hotel.
Winterbourne sits at the table. And Daisy turns and puts on a little boy's cap. Quite immersive of you.
Don't disrupt the scene.
Sorry. Why, hello there, child.
That's not how it went.
Ah, sure. He becomes quite still, contemplating young women in skirts as he drags on a cigarette. Daisy walks away from the table, then saunters over like a 10-year-old boy.
Will you give me a lump of sugar?
Is that what he sounds like?
He's my brother, I would know. If you keep interrupting me, you will never finish your novel.
She stoops down again, embodying Randolph.
Will you give me a lump of sugar?
You may take one, but I don't think sugar is good for little boys.
Hey, I'm taking 3. Oh!
She bites down on a sugar cube, then rubs at her jaw.
Oh, it's so hard. Is this European sugar? I thought you were American. And this is what American sugar? Don't you know? American candy is the best candy.
And American girls are the best girls.
I didn't know you said that to Randolph.
I did. I just remembered. I did.
Do you think that?
I guess I do. Well, you are. I mean, you were. I don't know what to say.
You were never so quite direct with me. I think you have enough material for now, don't you think?
Daisy disappears, leaving behind her parasol, which still rests on the desk.
Winterbourne, shaken by Daisy's sudden appearance and disappearance, grips the parasol and dictates the next paragraph of the story.
Daisy, the American girl, had drawn near. Randolph's sister, and every bit the opposite of him, dressed in purest white, in a skirt adorned with ribbons that gently waved in the air as she walked closer and closer to me. She has an American confidence that is absent in the girls here. Her forehead is not cast downward. Her eyes look straight ahead toward me. She is strikingly, admirably pretty.
Winterbourne recoils at the parasol and sets it down. He retreats upstairs to his bedroom loft. Lights up in the apartment. It is extremely late at night. Daisy enters again, this time through an unlocked window. She speaks directly to the audience. American girls are the best girls. Ha! What did you see back then? An American girl alone, abroad? Was that enough to make me the target of your strained affection? You write as though I was in control of all of this, as though my skirts hypnotized you and you lost all free will, as though you were not the one with all the backwards knowledge, as though I was the one who had just arrived last Tuesday. That day in the garden, I was not looking towards you. I was looking toward the brilliant blue of the sky, the deep green of the mountains. The parasol was not a tool of my seduction. It was to keep the sun out of my eyes. My face was pink with sunburn by the end of my first day in Vevey. Perhaps you thought it was a demurring feminine blush. She steals back her parasol and goes right back to the door.
The next morning, Winterbourne notices that the parasol is missing and experiences a moment of both panic and relief. Panic that the one memento of Daisy is gone. Relief that the parasol's absence might mean that there is not a ghost haunting him, and that yesterday's morning encounter was all a dream. He sits down at his writing desk, ready to make a little more progress on his writing. There are rules to living abroad. One of them is that one must always check in on any relatives living in your current country of residence. For me, that means checking in on my aunt, Mrs. Costello, a well-off woman from the New York High Society circle. Her life is utterly curated, from the hat she wears, to the pattern on her wallpaper, to the cakes she eats at noon. Of course, Daisy wanted to meet her. Both New Yorkers, both wealthy it seemed, but she was very exclusive. And as she would say, if I were acquainted with New York, I would see that she had to be. When I asked her if she had observed a trio of Americans, a mother, a daughter, and a young boy, she replied.
Suddenly, Daisy comes crashing in, this time wrapped in an elegant fur and wearing an extraordinary hat.
She must be playing Mrs. Costello. Lights, sound, shift to depict a parlor room with a much nicer partner. Daisy speaks with a strange accent, a broad mix of upper-class American and broad European. Perhaps it is a little transatlantic.
Oh, yes! I have observed them, seen them, heard them, and kept them out of their way.
Daisy?
They are very common. They are the sort of Americans that one does one's duty by not accepting.
This is very cruel of you, Daisy.
Oh, my dear Frederick, I do wish you would not talk to your aunt in such a way. I'm merely attempting to help you with your rather monumental task of writing a novel about your experiences here in Europe. And I do wish you would not admonish me for merely helping you, dear.
So I suppose this is how it'll be.
You suppose right, my dear.
So, you do not accept them, this American trio?
Oh, I can't, my dear Frederick. I would if I could, but I can't.
The young girl is very, pretty.
Of course, she's pretty, but she's very common.
I see what you mean, of course.
She has that charming look they all have. I can't think where they pick it up. And she dresses in perfection. You don't know how well she dresses, and I can't think where they get their taste.
Why do you talk about her this way?
She is a young lady who has an intimacy with her mother's courier. Eugenio.
An intimacy.
And the mother is just as bad. They treat the courier like a family friend, like a gentleman. I shouldn't wonder if he dines with them. Very likely they have never seen a man with such good manners, such fine clothes, so like a gentleman. He probably corresponds to the young lady's idea of a count. He sits there in the garden in the evening. I think he smokes in their presence. Good heavens!
Evidently she's rather wild.
Yes, absolutely. Wild is exactly the word to describe her.
But she was very charming to me.
You met her?
In the garden, I told her I would introduce you.
Heavens no, absolutely no, absolutely not. These American girls, my God, please do not mention my name to her again.
I won't, very sorry.
Very sorry indeed, my goodness, my goodness.
Daisy exits again. Winterbourne is left in the same strange state. Daisy! Daisy! Figment of my imagination. He returns to his writing, dictating the next section of his novel. Is Daisy simply a pretty girl from New York? Are they all like that? Or is she also a designing, an audacious, and unscrupulous young person? Daisy Miller has a face that is extremely innocent. Some people tell me that American girls are all supremely innocent. Others tell me they are not. I am inclined to think of Daisy Miller as a flirt. Pretty American flirt. Winterbourne puts down his pen and gets up. Strolls around the room stretching.
Daisy again dresses herself, slips in through another door. She wears a light shawl and carries a large fan. He does not notice her.
Before Daisy, I'd only known widows. I've never known a girl like Daisy. But my aunt never reacted to the widows with as much shock and indignation as she had Daisy.
Not very surprising, though, is it?
But why do you keep coming back?
Let's take a walk. Daisy waits for Winterbourne to offer his arm to her. He does reluctantly, and then walk around the apartment. And they do. Lights shift to reveal a night sky.
I couldn't sleep last night. I felt like I was back in the garden with you. Like I was meeting you for the first time.
How interesting. Do you know where you are now?
Walking the lake shore. Late evening.
Exactly. You remember how it went, don't you? She breaks apart from him and begins to swing her fan. She waits for Winterbourne to approach.
Have you been all alone?
I've been walking around with Mother, but Mother doesn't have much patience to walk around.
I do.
Are you inviting me to walk around with you?
I suppose so.
Well, I gladly accept. I do wish you would be more forward, though.
Am I not forward enough?
Not nearly. Now, have you spoken to your aunt? I've been looking round for her.
She has a headache.
Well, some other day then.
Oh, she has a headache nearly every day these days.
She can't have a headache every day.
Perhaps she can. Daisy stops swinging her fan. She turns to Winterbourne and speaks directly.
She doesn't want to meet me.
Well,
You don't need to be afraid. I'm not afraid.
she doesn't meet anyone. It's her health, you know.
You don't need to be afraid. Why would she want to know me? Gracious, she is exclusive.
I think you're playing a joke on me.
There's no joke here.
Well, what is this then? Public shaming?
Daisy holds her fan in front of her face, giving herself space to reset.
When she lowers the fan, she's in a new mood.
Don't you want to take me out in a boat?
What? What's the point of this?
Let's take a boat ride.
At this hour?
Why not?
What does your mother think?
She'll let me.
And your courier?
Eugenio? Of course he won't, but you would enjoy the sensation of guiding through the summer starlight, a skiff frightened with this fresh and beautiful young girl.
Where did those words come from?
Aren't they yours?
I don't know.
I don't think I care to go on a boat ride now. Tomorrow morning, I think. Care to wake up around 4?
Seeing you is... But I can't keep doing this.
Good night. I hope you're not disappointed or disgusted or something. She grins and presses the fan into Winterbourne's hand, then promptly goes away.
I don't know what I am anymore.
Well, I hope it won't keep you awake.
The lights fade back to normal. The night sky disappears. Winterbourne is left alone, holding the fan. Blackout.
Lights up on Daisy, alone again, this time at the top of the stairs. She wears long gloves for traveling, and she leaps down the stairs with delight. Well, I would say I'm sorry to keep crashing in, but we both know that's not true. I won't wake you up, not yet. Don't worry. There is just so much more to the story, and I think we've barely cracked the first act. As for the moment on the shore, I knew what you were thinking when I suggested that we take a midnight boat ride out to the castle. You could see it like a scene from a painting. The fantasy reflected off your eyes so bright I could see it myself. You are a romantic. Some would call you spacey. I always think it's important to be aware of one's surroundings, and you quite clearly are not. You remember 2 days later we visited the Sheydline Castle, a large, blocky structure jutting out of the shore of Lake Geneva. Impressive and romantic, sure, but also quite ridiculous. You asked me to meet you in the foyer of the Grand Hotel. It was delightful, getting to descend those stairs that the other guests stared. She demonstrates this confident and quick strut down the steps until she's nearly at the bottom. Of course, I stretched out my last few steps for your benefit. Lights focus on her last few steps. When her foot hits the ground, blackout.
Lights up on Daisy, banging her fan against the staircase. Winterbourne emerges on the loft and runs down the stairs anxiously.
Ready for our outing?
I suppose I must be.
What are you looking so grave about?
I'm torn between grimacing and grinning from ear to ear.
You look as if you were taking me to a funeral, not a castle.
I'm sorry.
I suppose I should thank you for trying. Shall we go?
Of course. Projections and lighting create the effect of a long hallway, studded with art. Daisy and Winterbourne walk in silence. Winterbourne maintains a respectful distance.
We spent our last day together in Switzerland here at the castle. A wonderful day.
Architecture is incredible.
We aren't here to talk about architecture.
Oh?
Go ahead and tell me what you need to tell me.
Well,
Go on. I can start. Would you like to come and tutor Randolph about buildings such as this one?
I'm afraid I have a prior engagement.
Where? Here?
Geneva.
You seem to think about Geneva quite a lot. What is so important in Geneva?
Well, nothing is important. Not more important than you, of course.
That is not how you said it, Frederick.
Just a couple of matters I must attend to.
Might the matters be older and female?
I don't know that I can...
Doesn't she never allow you more than 3 days at a time? Doesn't she give you a vacation from these engagements?
Rather direct, aren't you?
I've always been direct.
Well, suppose I can take a short break.
Well then, meet me in Rome for winter, promise me.
Well, that is a promise I can make. My aunt has taken an apartment in Rome.
I don't want you to come for your aunt. I want you to come for me.
I'll see you in Rome.
Daisy holds up her gloved pinky.
Surprised, Winterbourne raises his.
She clasps it in her own.
Projections go black. Daisy disappears.
The lights return and Winterbourne is left holding up an empty pinky finger. Lights up on Daisy alone on stage. Photos of Daisy in fabulous locations in Italy are projected like a travel slideshow. In the photo, she poses like a 19th century influencer, smiling brightly in front of ancient walls, posing far away in front of mountains and taking selfies across beautiful views. I will now present a dramatic reading of a letter to Fred that I absolutely forgot to send. Rome is absolutely delightful. I don't know why you spent all your time in that stuffy flat in Geneva when all of this is out there. The buildings are beautiful, so much history. Even the streets feel so richly old, and the people. You are, of course, still the most interesting person I've met in Switzerland, but here, there is no comparison. Please don't be offended. I'm only attempting to tease you. Don't take any of that to heart. I'm still very much looking forward to see you. Make sure you tell me exactly the day you plan to arrive. I've been going on so many outings, or perhaps I should call them excursions. It's also very exciting. I might be out on one of my excursions when you arrive, so please give me warning. Anyway, I am off to meet a certain Giovanelli. He's so dear. You will absolutely love him. You two can talk about anything, even the weather, and I'm sure it will be completely fascinating. I can't wait. I never know how to end things, so I will end it with a simple sincerely. Sincerely, Daisy Miller. She seals the letter, but does not know where to put it. She settles for sticking it in between some couch cushions and walks away delighted.
Winterbourne works at his desk with a sandwich. Takes bites between typing. Suddenly Daisy bursts into the space, again dressed as Mrs. Costello. Winterbourne nearly chokes on his sandwich. Why, hello.
Frederick! They are all here, courier and all, tramping about Rome as though they own it!
And Daisy?
She knows everyone, naturally.
Knows them?
She goes about alone with her foreigners. As to what occurs between her and these men, well, I'm not the one to tell you. She has picked up half a dozen of these Roman fortune hunters, and she takes them to people's houses as her guests. It's caused a great deal of scandal, I assure you.
I've only heard about one man.
Yes, the one with the wonderful, outrageous flower in his buttonhole. Dreadful.
Where is her mother?
I haven't the faintest idea. Dreadful people, the whole family.
They are ignorant. Innocent, mostly.
They are bad enough to dislike, and for the short life, that is quite enough. Goodbye, dear. Hope you are not placing too much hope in this girl.
Just as quickly as she had entered, Daisy leaves, slamming the door in her wake. Winterbourne stuffs the last bites of sandwich into his mouth and swallows the rest, anticipating Daisy's imminent return. He sketches out a couple of notes, gulps down some water and waits. Nothing happens. I'm alone. Just like that day in Rome. Daisy changed in Rome. Something about the sheer number of eyes on her changed something in her. I waited nearly 2 hours for her last time.
Suddenly, Daisy burst into the room as herself. Fred!
Oh, Daisy!
You should have found me sooner.
What was I supposed to?
My letter was very clear. You were to tell me before I arrived. I wanted to be prepared.
Oh, I suppose I was distracted.
By what?
I've, heard a few concerning things.
From your aunt? I still haven't met the old woman. If she would like to meet me, she's perfectly entitled to. We are invited to the same parties, you know.
I am aware, but I mean to say that I am distracted by news of this new man.
Giovanelli? Oh, you're sure to love him. He's a wonderful man. Truly, I believe you'll be a perfect match, just as intelligent as you are, just as cultured. Why, you and he are just the missing links.
I have an invitation for the two of us to visit...
Mrs. Walker? I had the same invitation. I thought it would be the perfect moment for you to meet Gio. I haven't asked Mrs. Walker yet, but she's splendid, and so is he, so I'm sure it won't be any type of issue. Don't you agree?
I thought that...
After all, when in Rome,
sure,
yes. But how wonderful it's settled. You will both accompany me to the spectacular home of Mrs. Walker.
Sure.
How perfect. We settled this just in time. I am due for a walk with Mr. Giovanelli any second. A voice calls off, Daisy again.
Daisy grips Winterbourne's hands with a final goodbye.
We'll see you so very soon.
Daisy runs off.
Winterbourne is left alone. Again. He stares off dazed at what had just occurred. Then the corner of the ghostly silhouette begins to develop.
It is Daisy, with something else. Something tall and man-shaped. Her parasol turns and obstructs the silhouette. She leans in closer to the man-shaped silhouette, but Winterbourne cannot make out what she is doing, now that her face is hidden by the parasol.
She and the shadow are motionless for a moment. Then she draws back, holding her parasol normally once more.
Daisy!
You ready to go?
You just keep...
Hello? Are you ready?
Yes.
You know, there are all kinds of people here, much more than Shen and Digby.
Yes, I would expect so.
Don't make fun of me.
I wouldn't dare.
Giovanelli is just one of them.
Do you mean to speak more to him?
Do I mean to speak to him? What do you think I should communicate by signs?
No, I mean, if you want to go with him alone, well, I'm afraid it's not proper. I intend to remain with you.
I don't like the way you said that. Too imperious.
I don't mean to say it wrong, I just need to say it.
I have never allowed a gentleman to dictate to me or to interfere with anything I do.
You should sometimes listen to a gentleman, the right one.
I do nothing but listen to gentlemen. Tell me, is Mr. Giovanelli the right one?
No, he's not the right one.
Huh. She drops his arm, then marches away. Winterbourne waits until she believes she is out of earshot, then shouts back at Daisy.
You're only ruining yourself.
I don't care! Breathless, frustrated, Daisy marches across the stage, fanning herself to recover. Well, Rome shaped up to be quite a disappointment, just going by the horrendous way Mrs. Walker treated me. The strangest moment by far was the war over who could take me for a walk. It was fine and well, frankly, to have Mr. Giovanelli offer me his arm, but suddenly dear old Fred decided that he must supervise me too. And of course, walking with more than one man at a time is somehow scandalous, so Mrs. Walker decides that she must scoop me into her carriage, so impeccably crafted that I must worry about my shoes scuffing carpet. And now I must sit quietly
as the boys glower at each other over something quite stupid, and Mrs. Walker patronizes me over the great crime of taking a walk. And may I say something? I don't much like riding in carriages. I want to walk around freely under the great Roman sun. Is that not my right? I don't care about what anyone in this town would like to think. It doesn't matter. I was going home in 3 months, and then what would it matter what some American girl did in Rome? What would it matter, truly? But no, Mrs. Walker, you had to pump your brakes and force us all into your little cart to spare poor Fred from looking stupid. Well, and I can say this quite honestly, Fred does look stupid quite a lot of the time. And of course he is very sweet, but that does not mean he cannot be quite stifling. I'm not a piece of fruit. I do not need preservation. I do not need to be swaddled in sickly sweet syrup. I am a person. Despite my white dress, despite my ribbons, despite my youth, I am a whole human being. I can live with the consequences of taking a little walk. She inhales deeply. She breathes for a few moments. Well, back to whatever insane thing Frederick is doing.
Winterbourne sits nervously, expectantly. You can tell that the next moment that Daisy is planning to take him to is important. He sits on his hands, then rises and starts to walk around. Daisy! It's been a little while. I don't know what comes next. I don't know what happens. Winterbourne looks around, opening doors, windows, and drawers. He stares, starts looking under furniture, tearing his space apart. Daisy just walks in from off stage. Winterbourne can only stand.
It's a pity your things are everywhere. We can't dance.
I don't dance.
Of course you don't dance. You're too stiff.
What is this about?
Mrs. Walker's party, of course. The lights shift to a warm party glow. The sounds of light music and party dialogue are heard.
Where's your beau?
You mean Giovanelli? He's not my beau.
He seems to think he is. The walks in the street might suggest it.
In the street? Oh, the young ladies of this country have such ideas about how one must behave. I don't see why I should change my habits for them.
I am afraid your habits are those of a flirt.
Of course they are. I am a fearful, frightful flirt. Did you ever hear of a nice girl who was not? But I bet you are about to tell me that I am not a nice girl.
You are a nice girl. But I wish you would flirt with me and me only.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. You're the last person I would like to flirt with. As I told you before, you're too stiff.
You say that all the time.
And I will say it again, dear Fred.
Frederick.
What was that?
If you won't flirt with me, I don't care. Please stop flirting with your friend Giovanelli. People don't understand your behaviors here.
Why should I care?
When you show yourself with Mr. Giovanelli, and without your mother, people think that...
Goodness! What do they think?
Though you may be flirting, they may think... Well, they may think something else.
My dear Frederick, we are not flirting. We are merely very intimate friends.
If you are in love with each other, I guess that's something else entirely.
At least Gio never says such horrible things to me. Daisy gestures for silence. The party music stops. Lights change back. Do you understand any of this?
Just tell me what you want me to understand.
I can't tell you.
Daisy! I'm exhausted. I can't sleep. Every moment you come back is torture. I'm miserable. My apartment is a mess. I can't do anything. I can't think about anything. And you keep coming back. For what? To show me how miserable I am? I know why I'm miserable. I was miserable before you. I'm miserable after you. For me, it's a state of being. Inevitable. Like rain and death and tomorrow and tomorrow after that. I don't know if I can change.
She produces a small boutonniere and offers it to Winterbourne. Flower for your buttonhole?
Daisy.
Try it on. It's the only way this ends.
I don't know if that's what I want.
Daisy pins the boutonniere to Winterbourne's lapel. You can be Giovanelli. Let's take a stroll to the Colosseum. It will be fun. Daisy guides Winterbourne to a small secluded spot free of random objects or furniture.
What does he sound like?
I can hardly remember. Italian, of course, but you don't need an accent. Just sound sweet and optimistic.
I don't know how to be sweet and optimistic.
Just say the kind things and swallow the rest.
They sit on the ground, in this bare space. They sit in a small pool of light.
Before I leave, I would like to see the Colosseum by moonlight.
You aren't leaving so soon.
A month is not quite long enough to see everything I would like to see.
Then tonight, we will wait here for the moon to throw its light in the most perfect spot.
Are you afraid of the Roman fever?
I am not afraid, and neither should you be.
You're not afraid of anything.
You don't have to be either.
I'm not afraid of anything.
Perfect. Now what happens?
Not much. You show up, cause a scene, we leave, but I got to see the Colosseum by moonlight.
You didn't kiss him or anything? No exchange of love vows?
Of course not.
You didn't get engaged?
I was never engaged to him. He was my friend. He showed me the Colosseum by moonlight, that's all.
That's all. Daisy begins to cough uncontrollably. Winterbourne does not know what to do. He tries to help her up. Daisy cannot stand. He begins to weep. He carries her over to the couch and lays her down. She becomes feverish and delirious. Oh, wait here. I'm going to get something for you. Winterbourne leaves the apartment hoping to find something, anything that will cure the ghost. Lights up on Daisy, alone on the couch. She looks very small. Her dress has been reduced to just a nightgown. Her hair is undone and flat. She is ill and speaks with a feverish detachment.
I feel very small all the time. Everyone comes up to me, patting my hair, spreading it out flat around me, undone. Like I'm already dead. Like they want to see a pretty image of my corpse before they put me in the ground. I heard them whispering about the plot they picked out for me in the corner of some ancient little cemetery. How quickly arrangements can be made. No one asked me where I would like to go after. Roman fever, you know. I don't really know how I got it. No one knows. Just a rumor that it spreads in cold, dark places. No point in assuming I got it at the Colosseum. Could have got it from Fred. Could have got it from anyone. Randolph couldn't keep his grubby hands off anyone else's sweets.
Could have got it from him, could have got it from Gio. Gio is long gone. I guess it scares him to be around sick people, and I understand. I guess too many around here have gotten it. I hope Fred knew I was never really engaged to Giovanelli. I was never engaged to anyone. I don't even think of myself that way, being engaged.
The light has changed. Something is a little less ethereal, maybe a little less ghostly. Winterbourne crashes in through the front door. He carries a small paper bag. Daisy! Daisy! Haunt me all you want! I'm here! Come on! Please, come on out! Wake me up at 4 a.m. and don't put my clothes all over the floor. Set a fire. I don't care. Come on. Hello? For Fred. I never know how to end things. So I will end this with a simple, sincerely. Sincerely, Daisy Miller. Blackout. End of play.
Next up will be Descent by Alycia J. Brown, directed by Ryan Henry. Enjoy.
The beginning. I is in a space that is eternally here, yet shifts and does not, in unequal balanced measure. Waning moon, final sliver of light. A cycle is ending. Primordial cave, eternal forests imposingly and unobtrusively envelop the space. Visible, yet invisible. Towering, yet diminutive. Dilapidated architecture, remnants of civilization strewn about the landscape. Reminders of the subway that serves as the road to hell. A three-headed she-wolf off in the distance. The faint sound of a subway car fills the space with the haunting echoes of another time. An owl's shadow passes over the space. I sees the glinting key attached to a translucent mask in the outcropping of stones. Space. Trois, Soeurs enter, dancing, encircling I. Drums, a heartbeat, soft, ancient, comforting yet foreboding. Dark.
Dona, no bees.
Pachem.
When are we? What are we?
The woman, part woman, a little snake, mostly owl.
The rabid she-wolf feeds on the souls who waver from the path of truth.
Do I walk among the living?
You traverse exactly where you are, dear one.
Am I to trust that my faculties are intact?
Your choice?
I was with the dead, yet I am undead, alive descended to this place.
The beginning. Your choice?
The subway I traveled to this space, sunless, soulless, colorless. We must tear down the old structures and rebuild for the living.
We have to do the one thing.
Drums intensify, frenzied, cacophonous, primal music. At once, a discordant choir of voices from every moment in time speaks in this moment. Woman continues speaking, softly, inaudibly. Trois conducts the music and communicates the energy in their actions. I cannot hear woman, but her inner knowing assures her that she must accept the mission. Silence. Trois fades. Multitudes of souls in great numbers lurk in the landscape, anticipating space.
Someone must do it.
We will cast lots to determine who goes. She who is determined by the oracle does the deed.
Woman casts shells, bones, feathers, and stones. The winds change course and settle upon I.
She speaks.
I don't understand.
Go.
Must I kill the tyrant? I will kill him. I must journey deeper into the mired morass.
Freedom is a road, seldom traveled by the multitude. Frederick Douglass. The entrance for you is there.
Small cave with abandon all hope, you who enter here, written above the entrance. Lights hover, flittering about more frenetically as they guard a faintly glowing, pulsating gemstone talisman. I reaches for the talisman. One light burns her before she touches it. Trois emerge from the shadows and douse the lights with water. They fall onto the table and transform into languid, insipid fae with wide wings, human necks, and faces. The fae scatter into the shadow.
Dona, Novice, Hachem.
You mustn't harm my angels.
Cast him out.
His voice, sweet, menacing, arsenic-laced honey.
Now, let us descend to this obscured world. The road is long. I lead, you will follow. Whatever happens, I am always with you. Call upon me if you must, but trust that I am near, always.
I understand.
The talisman pulsates. Woman leads I into the cave. Feathers. I arrives at a corridor within the system of caves. I walks, seemingly for miles. No one. Feathers attached to I as she journeys on. A wall, a dead end, and a beginning. The precipice of a time yet to begin. Dark moon. Trois stands watchful in the shadows. A descending staircase, one that extends below the caves into the abyss, further into the unknown. Velvety darkness, liminal space, impregnated with that which is yet to be born. The staircase enlivens gently with light. The soft, gentle luminaries caress the cold, smooth walls of the cave. Spiraling. Gentle lapping of the water along the river's edge. I descends the staircase reminiscent of the nude in a Duchamp masterpiece. A feather. Petrichor and lavender waft upon the currents of the gentle breeze. I steps upon the earth at the riverbank. Transference of electric energy from stair to earth to wind and water.
Keep walking.
I removes her golden sandals. Her diaphanous saffron robes pick up glints of dancing light. I wades in the river. Trois Soeurs stand guard at the bank. The she-wolf howls.
Dona, no beast.
Pacha.
Here, moonless, starless, cloudless darkness, stifling density. I walks across expansive, dry sand. Divine light emanating from I. Her heart and illuminated footsteps guide her way. Ashen flurries softly fall upon the barren landscape. Her robe snags on a thorn bush. A twig snaps off.
Why are you tearing at us?
Bloody sap seeps from the thorn bush onto her robes. Detached hollow voices of the subway souls encroach upon the space. A narrow stream with banks of stone off in the distance gushes from the woods and evaporates as it reaches the burning sand. Flames quenched by more flames.
You are killing us.
You stand upon the sands at the edge of the valley of pain, wrapped in clouds. Follow the brook.
Eternal sighing and the swarming sound of silence.
The flaming vapor. What shall I use to extinguish the flame?
I receives more owl feathers. The gemstone talisman pulsates. Trois Soeurs appear upon the banks.
State your business.
Enter the place where no light shines. Careful how thou enters and leaves.
Trois Soeurs recede into the shadows. Bellowing misery unceasingly fills the space. Woeful howls of condemnation seep in from the blackened trees lining the shore. I reaches the stone banks of the fiery brook. A plume of smoke rises and carries I to a graveyard of glowing skulls and bones. Faint sound of the subway in the far-off distance. I dances furiously. Her movements generate an energy that extinguishes the flames. Illumination, space, silence. First sliver of the waxy moon.
Welcome.
What is this place?
Was.
Was?
Yes, was paradise. The first space created. The light refuses to shine upon this terrain. You are covered in feathers. May you find strength in them. No talons yet. Continue descending.
Talons. Is that shelter over there?
Those woods are full of beings who see you, yet your eyes are not accustomed to seeing the beasts that lurk in the dark. Be vigilant. Wait here. I sent for a companion.
She will show you the way. Keep walking.
The Trois Soeurs dissolved. The she-wolf, her coat inkly black, the colors of a starless midnight, yet her eyes hold the cosmos.
Come.
Vibrant air, whirring and calm. The trees awaken alongside the flowers as I and she-wolf glide among them. Life springs forth once again. Verdant grasses born of scorched sand. Tyrant sings a melody that retreats as I approaches the direction of the tune. I dances with the sound wafting in the air. Tyrant appears in shadow, dancing the same choreography as I from a distance. The song leads. I follows deep into the woods. Talisman pulsates. I's talons begin to emerge. She-wolf unleashes a mighty, protective howl. They dance until the stage transforms into a meadow. Improperly saturated pale primavera amid the netherworld. I collapses, sinks into the ground. The spaces where her body inhabits increase in vibrancy, hue, and saturation. Silence. Space. I wakes from her nap, she-wolf by her side. The meadow transformed into a gently sloped white marble labyrinth while I slept. The coils of the labyrinth create a comfortable space for I to sit. The ridge gently heaves. Respiration. The white snake extends her tongue, tickles I on the side of her face. She-wolf growls as white snake tightens her coils. White engulfs the space. This frightens white snake enough to retract her tongue. I is swept up in the gale and carried off.
Hello?
Person.
Woman.
Person. Woman.
Who are you?
Man.
A living personage.
Camera obscura.
Apparition exits.
Ask her. Who? First woman. Snake woman.
The white snake emerges from shadow in a billowy white chiton. Her deep, dark skin holds the secrets of all time. Dreadlocked hair, beautifully adorned with wooden beads, gold filigree tubes, cowrie shells, and feathers. A diadem crowns her tresses. Her voice, the voice of all women through time.
Late, your transformation is complete. Come, I shall assist you.
Nudges I forward. Trois Soeurs emerge from the shadows, whispers.
Dona, no bis, Hashem.
A gust of wind carries the whispers of the voices from the subway into the space. White snake performs the ritual, dissembles and reassembles I, who emerges as an owl woman, fully feathered, her talons complete.
There, dear one, you are ready. Show your feathers only when necessary. Your power lies in them. Fight when you must.
Fight?
Yes, fight.
I don't know how.
You do. Trust when the time is right. Fight. Fight to win.
Am I still woman? Am I whole?
Fully woman, fully owl.
And this gem?
That's no gem. That is the piece of the heart of the tyrant.
His heart.
Fragments of his heart are scattered about the lands, each part representative of the whole. Destroy one, and all shall perish.
How do you know this?
Long ago, we were divine lovers. The distinction between the sacred and the profane was non-existent. He planted the divine seed. I transformed them in my sacred womb. We consummated our love and created worlds. We acted in lust and passion, fueled universes. It was glorious. My orgasm sent ripples through time, started aeons anew, ignited the cosmic spark.
White snake reminisces in a belly dance routine, danced perfectly, flawlessly from the depths of her being. She-wolf and I are enraptured by her seductive movements and prowess.
He forced me to dance in the company of men, any man. He grabbed me by the pussy, his sacred touch, devoid of all sanctity. His eyes, sunken and dull, his jealousy was masked in the masochistic pleasures of our escapades. As I birth immortality, unbeknownst to me, the male became increasingly jealous, lost his soul and embarked upon total destruction, destroying himself in the process, degrading me in the process, desecrated my sacred temples, called me nasty woman in a feeble attempt to disempower me. He fetishized me, but he got his wish. He gave birth to the Tyrant, lost his connection to the spirit, to divinity, to the beginning, to life transformed into petulant war maker, harbinger of death, creator of the endless, soulless thinking and disconnection from heart. When you gaze upon him, you will only see the remaining fragments of once was, as I, woman, carry the seed of life.
White snake's womb grows with child.
Divine man is to be born again, does not exist in this moment. Divine woman must reclaim her agency and ascend to her throne.
What happens now?
You continue your mission. You have my blessing.
White snake crowns eye with her diadem.
Stand in your sovereignty. The tyrant is a liar, prince of all liars. Beware of his penetrating gaze. It is designed to defile and oppress women. His cohort of former angels are equally vile. You have what you need.
White snake kisses eye on her forehead.
May you be blessed with the brilliance of eternal light that lives in the spirit of the stars. Your eyes are open now. May your light be a beacon of hope.
Dona, no bis, pacem.
Dona, no bis, pacem.
Dona, no bis, pacem.
I see phantoms everywhere.
Hordes of shadowy phantoms perform behind a translucent backdrop. They walk on 2s and 4s. A man attacks and the phantom fights back. Feverishly, the phantoms rush toward eye and vanish.
The child belongs to me. He will be taught to be a man. The phantoms are failed men that must be herded like cattle. Men devolved to the state of animals, but my seed endures. Bring me my heir.
You must go. Now you know what to do. Cast him out. Whatever happens, I am always with you. Call upon me if you must, but know that I am near, always.
White snake turns to stone.
Come.
Eye emerges from the meadow, disoriented, a featherless woman.
Am I alive? Dreaming? Where is here?
A door, old, paint-chipped, eroded. Solid construction with medieval Spanish Moor architectural elements. Eye removes the talisman from her leather pocket. It pulsates, throbs rhythmically. As Eye approaches the door, the talisman increases in luminosity. Eye draws nearer the door involuntarily. Enter Tyrant. White-haired, blue-eyed, tall, fueled with a ferocious disdain. Tyrant wears a dark suit, impeccably tailored. He is less than corporeal, disjointed, mottled, thin skin.
Nasty woman. Presumptuous, nasty woman.
Snatches the talisman from Eye's hand and grabs her elbow.
Unhand me! Release me!
Eye partially transforms. Some feathers appear, but her talons remain hidden.
I see you've earned your feathers. Bravo.
So I have.
Bold of you to show up unannounced, my feathered friend.
I am not your friend, and you knew I was coming for you.
You think you can destroy a piece of my heart and the rest shall perish? Did they tell you that, silly girl?
I know nothing more than you are rather careless with your heart.
I have no heart.
This?
Purely symbolic. My real heart is long lost. Wouldn't recognize it if it was in my cabinet of curiosities. Care to have a look?
I'm not here to entertain you.
All women are here to entertain me.
Faint sounds of the subway and the howling voices of the trapped souls in the distance.
I am weak with pity at the signs of your endless suffering.
The subway, is it there? Is your heart in the subway that brought me here?
My heart and the subway are one and the same. My heart is that tree, the roots that support this structure, this world, all worlds. My heart swallowed you whole in the meadow. My heart was the scorched earth and sand you walked across. You've come to kill me? Get on with it.
Patience.
I have appointments.
With?
Heads of governments, banks, CEOs, powerful, rich men.
In what world?
All worlds. I exist on all planes, in all times. I am the architect of reality.
The architect?
Who do you think built all of this?
Weak, light, so many corners, stainless, still and light blocking glass.
I am reality.
Ticking clock, subway train roars, disembodied voices, she-wolf howls in the distance.
No, you are not.
Owl's shadow crosses, engulfs the space with overwhelming sound. The primordial tree stirs, roots emerge and morph into owl. Eye transforms into the fully feathered owl version of herself, replete with golden talons. A loom of light dispels the dark. Full moon. Time misbehaves. The battle ensues. Eye claws at Tyrant. Snake Woman, She-Wolf, and Trois Soeurs surround the space and empower Eye as she unearths the root of the tree with her talons. As the tree is uprooted, Tyrant loses power until he expires.
I think you have killed me.
I
How can you be this cruel?
am restoring balance.
Have you no forgiveness?
The question has no meaning. You ask me that. I am an owl.
Your wings are covering me.
Morning. A new dawn. The grotto is suddenly illuminated by brilliant natural light. Trapped souls emerge as reimagined people, disoriented, taking shape, not quite dead, yet not living. All the lost creatures begin to emerge. A new day, a new era, a new divinity.
I'm Sharese Salters.
And I'm Kirsten Shagru.
And we co-produced this venture. And we want to thank you again for the entire festival. And we hope that you enjoyed it. And we hope that you will reach out to the artists and let them know what you thought about their work. They worked really, really hard. And we're forever grateful for the work that they put into it.
If you want to find out more about Villanova Theater, you can follow us on Facebook or Instagram at Villanova Theater, or you can check us out online at villanovatheater.org. Thank you so much.